Here we are at Philip McCallum's down in Lisburn. There's the shop behind me and sun's in my face now. So maybe 1200. We're changing it today to this big beast here while Joe struggles with the doors. I'm taking this out, so it's all prepped and ready for me. So I'm going to get a coffee and then we'll go for a wee ride on it. See you soon.
welcome back. After final thoughts on my ride yesterday out with the Rocket 3, absolutely loved it. It was fun. Once I got on it, it didn't feel as heavy as it looked, but I thought the seat was a bit narrower than what I was used to, so it was very easy to get on the bike, hold the bike up. The weight didn't feel like it was going to fall over. It was fairly well balanced, very positive. Obviously I'm used to having a screen in front of me, no screen, and having so much power on that bike. You literally are gripping forward, but it was good. My complete thoughts on the ride were very good. It was a very pleasant afternoon. When I picked it up at the dealers, Philip McCallum's in Lisburn, took it out for a quick run, myself and one of my friends, and it was only when I was getting familiar with it and you knew that from the growl of the bike that obviously there was a lot of power as well. You could just, from the flick of the wrist, you were gone in seconds. In fact, if you're willing to really open it up and go, you will be pleasantly surprised. All I can say is make sure you are holding on tight. Not the 60 will, according to the figures, I've had to print out some stuff here so I have it sitting here in front of me. Not the 60 is in about 2.73 seconds. Now, I did try a few different things while I was out on the bike, and I was sitting at 60 at one point, and open clear road in front of me, opened the throttle, and I was so surprised to where I ended up. Obviously I can't say, but in a flick of a wrist I was well beyond the speed limit, so a quick drop down. It is impressive. At first I'm going from a bike with a quick shifter, and I realised that there's no quick shifter on this here, so I had to use the clutch. Dear me. But grand, all the instruments, everything was laid out just like Triumph, so getting off one Triumph and onto another was grand. I didn't have any problem finding any of the buttons. They were all familiar to me, so that was second nature. The foot pegs were great. Your seated position, you are seated, I suppose I can call it like it's aggressive, or like a monkey position. So I was fairly aggressive sitting forward, but you're on a very mean looking bike. It's very impressive, even walking around it and looking at it. I was so impressed with it. Now, the torque of the bike is 225 newtons at 4,000 RPM. The exhaust, I loved just looking at this here. It's a stainless 3-into-1 headers with 3 Exit Arrow branded silencer and a cat box. It's just so impressive to look at it. It keeps bringing me back to my old comic hero Judge Dredd, and I suppose the film that, if you ever seen Sylvester Stallone in, this massive bike that the police, obviously Judge Dredd, Stallone is on, he looks very uncomfortable on it. There is no suspension settings on the Rocket 3. It literally is what it is, and you do feel every bump. So if you're on back roads, or you will feel it. I felt every single bump. On the main roads, it was a dream. It just cruised along. I never really got into sixth. There's a 6 speed on but it was all very sort of 40s to 50, 60 mile an hour, depending on where I was, but it was great. The whole afternoon was excellent. As I said, it's a 6-speed gearbox. The TFT is a multifunctional instrument pack. It has a digital speedo, trip, tacho. It shows you your gear position. There's a fuel gauge, service indicator, shows you the temperature outside. It has your clock and it has your rider modes. Now it's similar to, as I say, other trams. I ride a Tiger, and it has the Rain Road Sport, and then you have obviously your own configuration that you can put into it as well. It does say that the Triumph TFT connectivity system can be added with an accessory fitted Bluetooth module. So there's something, obviously this is something that Triumph has been talking about for a long time, but this is obviously something that can be added into this bike as well. Now when you look at the front wheel on the bike, it looks very similar to other bikes. It is a 150 or 150 by 80. It's a 17, but the rear tire is 240 50, and it's a 16. It is just massive, absolutely massive. Now when I was cornering, I felt that I was literally on a big tire, like a barrel type thing. At first I wasn't very comfortable with it, but it didn't cause me any, by the end of the day, it didn't cause me any problem whatsoever. It was grand. The seat height, I'm 5'8". I'm a wee shorty. I'm a wee short and fat and bald, as you can see. And it's 773 millimeter. I had no problem flat footing the whole time on it. It was very easy to handle, very easy to ride. The dry weight is 290 kilograms. And the fuel capacity of the tank is 19 litres. I'm not sure what it was doing miles per gallon, but I did have any problem whatsoever with it. Now when you get on it, you will find that the seat is a bit like an oyster shell, and if you're coming from the scooter community, I suppose a king and queen seat, they used to be, I suppose, called, and it's only when you open up the throttle that you realise that why it's an oyster type shell. If you look at the back of the oyster shell would be raised, and that's the part the back end of your bottom would sit into it. When you open the throttle up, you really need that. Now I don't know how it would feel if somebody was on the back of you, but I would imagine if somebody was on the back, they would probably be sitting on the ground once you opened up the throttle. But there's just so much torque in it, so much power. But the seating was perfect for sitting in. Feet on the pegs were it's a very relaxed mode. Whether you had an extended handlebar to make it a wee bit more comfortable rather than sitting forward in an aggressive mode, I don't know what would make it easier. As I said, the suspension, there's no adjustment on the suspension, but on main roads it was grand. Didn't take it on the motorway, but it was super for in any of the B roads that I went on to. I ended up on a couple of smaller roads, and I was being bumped around quite a bit. I did feel it on my shoulders, but it was grand. So hopefully it's given you a little insight to what I thought of the Rocket 3. It is an immense bike. It definitely I used to have hair. It blew my hair off. What can I say? If you get a chance, either get out and try one or buy one. Make your own mind up. But this is what I thought anyway. So thanks for watching.